Sorry about that. I was a little frazzled. Okay. So we were just talking about what adds to or what detracts or destroys culture within it. We're talking about a team, whatever. Let me close this and I want to go to the next page because I don't want to stay on the negative for too long, but I want to share with you all something that Reagan and I talk about a lot. I've taught my kids this just a little bit. I've talked about it with other friends and shared it with people. And I think it is really key. And that is, how do I remove these annotations? Sorry. Let's see. Okay. I want to talk about Karpman's triangle. So what you're looking at, you can Google this. You can do a little studying on your own. And Karpman's triangle is really just what I call the basic model of dysfunction. It doesn't matter if it's in a one-on-one relationship or a family or a team. It can be in a workplace. It can be in a church. It can be in a Juice Plus team, okay? Even though what we do is really great, we can all fall into these things. And a lot of times it comes from really good intentions. So think about this. Like there's this rescuer who saves people. He sees as vulnerable, works hard, offers for help all the time when not asked. So this rescuer person might appear as the person that is going to go get every single person on the planet on Juice Plus, whether they like it or not, because they are going to end cancer, right? But when people are not receptive to them, they will take that personally, right? Mm-hmm. And they can become the victim, overwhelmed by their own vulnerability. Maybe doesn't take, hold on a second. Doesn't take responsibility for own situation. Maybe doesn't let others take responsibility for their own choices. And, we've all been around a victim. This is someone who always has a million problems that they never want to solve, right? I always say run the other direction. Then you have that persecutor who's kind of me when I'm saying, well, that's the person that always has a million problems they don't want to solve. The persecutor is sometimes unaware of his or her own power and therefore discounting it. Power is used negatively and often destructively versus in a powerful way. And from there, I want to transition into talking about how a healthy culture stays away from the drama triangle and goes into something that is a little bit healthier. But I love sharing this because it blows people's minds, right? You sit there and you go, oh my gosh, I've been doing this with my mother or my spouse or one of my kids. And it gives you a little bit of clarity and sometimes creativity to approach situations differently. Has anybody seen this before?
No.
Okay, I know Patty has. So
that's helpful, Ellen. Yeah.
It's really cool. Research it on your own later. There's just Google Karpman triangle and there all kinds of stuff will come up. But I thought about for what I think are pillars of healthy culture. Now you can go and read leadership books that will identify as different things, but to me, these are really substantive pillars for us to focus on, especially in the coming year as we grow with Juice Plus, as we grow our team. And I'm so glad someone said this a couple pages ago. Number one is trust. Is it easier to build it or destroy it?
Destroy it.
Destroy it.
Okay. What do you think destroys trust?
Lying.
Lying, yeah.
Well, and all those things we talked about from an unhealthy or a toxic culture a couple pages ago, that erodes trust. And one of the things that's really important in this environment is to create trust and to make sure it stays in place. And that has to do with our own character and our own integrity. We don't have to be perfect, but we can be trustworthy. And I put a little definition of it on here: firm belief in the character, strength, or truth of someone or something placed his trust in me, a person or thing in which confidence is placed, a confident hope I waited in trust of their return. You know, in my journey with Juice Plus, I had to learn to trust the product, trust the company, trust the industry I'm working in, trust that my paycheck was going to come every month. And most importantly, trust the people around me that I was working with. And that's what we're building here. And we have built it. We have a great container here, but we're continuing to build it so that you can bring more people into it and trust. This is a great environment, right? The second pillar is ownership. And I think this is the one area where it's so easy to get into that drama triangle is if I, as your upline, if I take ownership of your business, suddenly I'm the rescuer, persecutor, and you're the victim who can't take care of yourself, right? So it's really important that we all embrace, this is my own franchise. I pay $1 a week a year to do it. It's a great deal. And I own it. And what happens to it, or what I do with it, or what I don't do with it, that's all on me. It's not on my upline. It's not on my downline. It's not on my sideline. It's not on the pandemic. It's not on the color of the sky. Ownership is, to me, control over your enterprise, providing the power to dictate the operations and functions. Okay, that sounds really stiff, but you are the person that determines and sets the pace of activity. Nobody else does. Okay. And I just love that because it challenges me. I've been in places before where it's really easy to say, oh, it's not going well, it's my upline's fault, or it's my downline's fault. None of them are working right now. Or whatever. It's all on me. And you can only control one thing here. Can anybody tell me what that is?
Yourself.
Me.
Yeah, and your attitude and your level of activity. So I cannot control what anybody else does, but I can control mine, and I can set the pace right there. And sooner or later, you're going to bring alongside you a team of people that are going to be like running the race with you. Not everybody's going to go the same pace, and that's totally cool. But that ownership takes away any, I think, temptation to put the pressure on others, the blame on others, or too much on yourself, right? If I recruit a great team of people and they're all rock stars, and 4 months from now, I don't know, they all go through major life stuff and move cross country and have babies and get married and get divorced and have more babies. That is like, I have zero control over that. It is what it is. So you sort of just keep going, you keep rolling with it, right? And that's part of the fun of this culture that we have is we do life together. We've done so much life together when we embrace that. And then I think the third pillar, and I think I'm terrible at this, I just want to say that, is recognition. And that's the ability to recognize someone or something, to praise, respect. Carol said respect earlier, admiration, agreement that something is true or important. And it's really important in our culture that we all are on the same page about our mission. We are inspiring healthy living around the world. And as long as we agree about that and we recognize that, we admire it in one another, that's how we grow and develop, and how our healthy culture takes root and then it duplicates. Comments, questions? Anybody agree, disagree?
I think you said it very well.
And if you disagree with me, it's fine. I am not John Maxwell, but this is just me where I am on my journey. And I thought, these are big things. I need trust. I also need to take responsibility and have ownership. And also, we all need recognition sometimes. Every single person on this call right now, I can tell you, you all kick ass in your lives. I know that because you're here and you don't have to be. I know that because you make a difference and because you genuinely care, and you deserve to be recognized for that. Okay, so I went a little deeper. I'd love to hear what you guys think about trust. I love this quote, trust is like blood pressure. And since we're in the health business, blood pressure is a big deal. Trust is like blood pressure. It's silent, vital to good health. And if abused, it can be deadly. And I think trust is so often silently implicit until it's destroyed. Anybody have any comments about that or anything you want to share? It's quiet.
I think trust is something that takes much longer to establish and can be broken very easily. So I think when we're trying to share something that we know has been proven through science. I mean, everything you hear now about is trust the science, and we have the science. I think you have to treat your relationships when we're trying to gain the trust of people very carefully and be very honest in what we say.
100%. That's great insight, Vicki. And I think, you know, we've all had enough life experience to know what it feels like when trust is broken, but we also hopefully know what it feels like when trust is in place and you just have really great relationships. And that's what we want to continue to create here. And that's why I kind of went down a little bit of a dark path tonight, just to say, hey, these are the things we want to definitely avoid. And we've all been there. We've all survived junior high and things in life like that. So, you know, so we can bring people into this environment and cultivate trust. And that's a really special thing. I love this. I just found this on Google today about ownership. And I think I was like, this is really cool. So I did not invent this. I stole this from someone else, but thinking and acting like an owner, it totally changes how you walk, how you talk, how you feel. And people pick up on that emotional energy, right? So the number 2 thing on here is do what we say we're going to do. Do that follow-up call when you say you're going to do it. Do that event, do that coaching call. Even if, you know, you're a hot mess like me most of the time, people respond to that a lot better than they do perfection, to you just keeping your word. Because guess what? Not everybody keeps their word in this world anymore. So you can be that difference maker. And that's what's going to attract great team members. Number 3, be passionate about growth. You sit on this Juice Plus franchise like you've got $1 million business in your hands, and be passionate about growing it and passionate about growing yourself and your team members. And you know what? You can turn it into anything. But you've got to bring that passion yourself, and you've got to hold yourself responsible to that. But again, I love the team aspect, because we've all had times where you're dragging. You're surviving life, and that's what a team's for, is you can come and you can plug in and you can remember why you're here in the first place. Number 4, make data-driven decisions. And that's not as applicable to us, other than I will say it's always a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more impact you're going to have. It doesn't matter how well you say it or what YouTube video you share. It is about talking to numbers of people. And, you know, in my experience with sales, that always shakes out true. I made the decision to be the person that was going to talk to the most people. And guess what? That's what wins. It's not because I say the right thing or do the right thing, or I am perfect on my delivery or anything like that. It's because I made the decision to talk to the most people. Number 5, develop the best people. You get someone on your team who's hungry, go invest in those people. With such an opportunity, people are the most important thing, to invest in people, to develop them. Hands down, the biggest joy for me in Juice Plus in the last 14 years has been developing people, seeing people walk the stage, seeing people talk on a team call for the first time, seeing them host an event, seeing them just evolve and blossom in all these awesome ways. This is how life is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be stagnant. Number 6, make every client a case study. Here's the deal with that. Learn from your mistakes, learn from your customers, learn from your team members. You're going to fail all your way to success. So make a case study out of the things that go well and the things that don't, and learn and continue to grow. And then lastly, demand and deliver outstanding work. Don't ask anything of your team that you're not willing to do yourself. I'll tell you, that is a leadership thing for me that is a pet peeve, is if you're asking me to do something but you won't do it yourself, you just lost my trust. You just lost my respect. So demand and deliver yourself, not your team. But you know what? When you do that with courage, your team's going to follow you. Okay. It's kind of like doing the shred 10 in a way, right? We dive in, we do it, we do the detox, we do the whole thing. We lock up our wine and we do all of that because we demand and deliver from ourselves the same thing that we're asking our customers to do.
I have a question. Is it okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to ask something about number 6, where it says make every client a case study. We've all built through the years different clients who have seen results from, maybe they don't have migraine headaches, maybe their children are, doing better in school. All of these things that we know that Juice Plus helps. Do you all make reference to your personal clients, whether they've improved their blood pressure, improved the skin, whatever your client base has shown improvements to? Personally, I'm reluctant to ever say, oh yes, I have some children that are on the autism spectrum and here's what happened. I kind of feel that maybe that might be a little disingenuous, and that I should just stick to basic science that our studies show. How are other people handling that client personal base that they have experienced?
Vicki, I'm happy to jump in and just say you can use feel, felt, and found. That's probably the easiest way. If somebody says something about the party, I know how you feel. I felt that way too. But what I found is, and you can also relate that to, I've related it to some of my customers. And in fact, some of my customers have spoken to other customers and just said, as a testimonial based on the research too, where they've just said, I had an issue with whatever, and over time, which is key, I don't have that issue as badly as I used to in the past. And
yeah,
it may not work for you, but
yeah, I will speak to initially what I've seen personally, but I've been reluctant to speak about what other clients' improvements have been, because I think what I say is I always think that Juice Plus helps address some of those nutritional deficiencies that we all individually have, without saying, oh yeah, well, I have this one client whose child was underweight and he was on the autism spectrum and he's doing much better. I'm reluctant to make that kind of correlation if that's a specific thing that a prospective client has said, well, will it help me address this?
Patty, can you speak to that? That's a great question.
Yeah, actually, Bobby and I watched today the video again, the Easy 8. You remember that video from Juice Plus?
I don't.
You've seen it. It's the Easy 8. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
And the very first two are core about what you're talking about, Vicki. The first one says that we are not to say the Juice Plus has made me
Right.
lose weight, or the Shred 10 has made me lose weight, or lowered my blood pressure, or fixed cholesterol. We can't, we can say that with other healthy lifestyle changes that Juice Plus helped me to make, these things happen to me. That's number one. The second thing is, it explicitly tells us that we cannot do third-party testimony. In other words, we can't do just what you were talking about when you were saying that you don't feel comfortable about that. Well, there's a good reason you don't feel comfortable about it, because it says you can't say somebody else's story fixed this problem. You can say, I have a client who has a child who is dealing with autism. If you'd like to speak to them, then they can tell their own testimony, because they're obviously, unless they're a representative of the company, they can tell their testimony any way that they want to. But as long as we're representing Juice Plus as partners, those very first two issues are right on the front of the video. And so you might want to watch that.
I'll review that. Thanks, Patty.
Good review. Okay, for the sake of time, because we've been on a long time tonight, I'm just going to go over to the end here. And talking about recognition, I love this quote from Mary Kay Ash. She was, of course, the founder of Mary Kay. And, Mary Kay has done tremendous things in the network marketing industry. And, one of the things I appreciate most about network marketing is we've never had a glass ceiling that women have had to crash through in so many other industries. It's why I think everyone should do it in their life at one point or another, because of what you will learn. But she said there are two things people want more than sex and money, and that's recognition and praise. And I will tell you, I could not agree more. And just to be really vulnerable about how I'm wired, I would rather get a personal email recognizing me or something like that than a check. And no comment about sex on our team call, you guys. So, but that's a great quote. And I want you to think about that as you're bringing people into your team. You have an opportunity and we have an opportunity. And Reagan and I have been talking about this. We are going to do much better with this, because Reagan and I tend to be like just plowing through life. We both can be like this. We're going to take more time to stop and really celebrate and recognize what you all are doing. Charles Schwab said the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. 100%. We have an opportunity to maybe be that person in someone's life. No one else may be appreciating them. You want to attract young moms to your team, be the person that appreciates them, because guess what? They're in the thick of it, doing the most thankless job, wiping bottoms, making food, making lunches. And you may be the only person that appreciates that and encourages them. William James said the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. And I think this is something for our culture that we do well, but we could also go so much deeper. And I know you guys have friendships with each other where you exchange that appreciation. And that's part of what happens at conference, when we see each other and we hug each other and we think, we build these memories together and we do these great things together. So we're going to work on recognition, but also as you build teams, this is easy. It's easy to write a note and say, hey, I noticed you really kicked butt last week. I noticed that you told your story more. I noticed that you posted more on your Facebook page and you were having conversations with your friends. We can go deeper into recognition, and that's what's going to always set us apart from what everything else is out there, especially a lot of corporate America. Recognition is just magnificent. So I'd like to close there and let you guys comment, turn off the recording, and send everybody to bed, I guess. Or if you're excited, go talk to some people. Anybody?
That was great, Ellen. Thank you. Super helpful.
Thank you. And I think next week we're going to talk more about tribal leadership. We've talked about before, but it's a lot of this and kind of how do we build the culture? Because I think the more we build the culture, it's kind of like the bacteria in your gut, right? The more you build the good guys, the more they come and the more they multiply.
I'll use that.
None of you are bacteria.
Nice analogy, Ellen. That's really nice.
I don't know, too.
Well, bacterium. Thank you.
My leader called me bacteria. No, that's my kids. Anybody want to add anything? Tell a recognition story?
Hey, I just want to,
Well, I want,
we have our,
go,
we
sorry,
have
go.
our, oh, sorry, somebody else is talking.
Oh. Go ahead, Missy.
We have a Thursday call, am I right? Is that the Spanish call?
Yes.
Yes.
It's in the team page. And for my team, if it's not in our page yet, I will put it in there. That's all about the resources for building teams, Spanish speaking, all of that, right? Okay, cool. All right. Well, you guys are really awesome. Thank you for this tonight. And I'm ending the recording.